Let me walk you step by step of how to set up, execute, and program a barbell bench press. For those of you that don't know, my name is Tim Stiroh of Stiroh Fitness and Nutrition, coming at you from JD Core Training in Fairfield, New Jersey. The barbell bench press is certainly one of the most commonly used and programmed upper body strengthening exercises, and for good reason, as it does a pretty decent job of targeting and isolating those chest muscles while also bringing some other muscles such as the shoulders and triceps into the lift as well to get a multi-joint compound exercise. Since it is one of the more commonly used exercises in the gym, I'm sure a lot of you might have questions on how to set it up, the position of your feet, your body, and your hands on the bar, and what you should be doing when you're just moving the bar towards your chest and back away from it. So we're gonna go through each of those steps one by one. So by the end of this video, you should have a really solid foundation of how to set up, execute, and ultimately program and use this barbell bench press exercise in your own workout routine. Now, the first step for this exercise is going to be the placement of the bar on the rack. Now, some squat racks that have the barbell bench press in them will have these adjustable pegs here that you can move based on your own body proportions, but some gyms might not have that and they might just have a couple options for you. But we're gonna go over what are the things to look out for so you can find out the best setup for you. When I'm trying to figure out the best starting position for the bench while it's on the rack, I wanna pay attention to the bend and the amount of flexion that my elbow is in. If my arm is straight, I won't have enough leverage to push it off. Similarly, if it's so far down, it might be too low, and then I have to work a little bit harder to get that weight off before I even start my set. To get the best of both worlds, you want to kind of be in the middle of that, and what that would look like is a slight bend of the elbow. This will give you enough leverage to go ahead and push off and be in a good position from the start where you don't have to do any extra work. If the bar is behind my head, same thing that we just talked about before, my arms have to work a little harder to get to that starting position. If I'm too far back, either my head will be off the bench or I won't have enough room to bring the bar back down to my chest and back up because I'm gonna hit the pegs based on the bar path when I execute the reps. So in order to find that sweet spot, I wanna slide back on the bench so that I have my feet firmly on the ground. My hips and my glutes and butt is on the bench. My upper back is on the bench and my eyes are under the bar. This will give me a really good starting position, both from the top, but also as I come down to make sure I don't hit any of the parts of the rack or where I'm taking the bar off from. Now, unlike some of the lower body barbell lifts, such as the deadlift, Romanian deadlift, the squat, the bar path is not going to be vertical. It's going to have a little bit of almost like an inverted J in a way, where that it's going to kind of hook as I bring the bar down to my chest. So we'll run through those steps one more time. I'm going to make sure I'm at a good starting point for the bench. I'm going to slide back so that my eyes are under the bar and my hands are going to be about a thumb's distance away from the start of the bumpy part on the bar. Now you can always adjust that based on your own hand length and arm position, but this puts a good starting point and at least you have something to reference back to. So coming down, arms are set, firm grip, and I'm going to press it out and start. So as I come down, if I were to come straight down, it would come towards the top of my chest and put a lot of strain on my shoulders. But as I come down, if I let it fall to the middle of my chest, push up and slightly back, now my chests are involved. This is the motion I want to get. And what I like to tell people oftentimes is instead of worrying about creating a path for the bar, have your elbows just come on down towards the floor and then push them back up. So I get set up, here, pressing up, starting. I'm gonna let my elbows fall to the ground, and then I'm gonna push right back up to where I started. As my elbows fall, I wanna make sure that when my hands are set up on the bar, I have a little bit of about a 45-degree angle with them. If my hands are too wide on the bar, I will create like a T, and I won't get as much leverage out of the lift for my chest. And if they're too narrow, I'm gonna end up doing more of a tricep exercise, which may or may not be the goal for you, depending on what your training goal is for using this barbell bench press. If you're new to working out, you've just joined your gym, you're all excited, and you're ready to get started with this kind of exercise here, you might take a look around at people doing it, and you'll see a wide variety of different people and their form and technique. Most commonly, what you'll see is people who have a crazy arch in their back as they do that, and they do this exercise, which would look something like this. Come down and up. That's more of a powerlifting technique, and again, that could be good or could be unnecessary for what your goals are. But for someone who might just be wanting to stay fit, wanting to get stronger, but not looking to compete in, let's say, a powerlifting competition, or isn't trying to lift as much weight as they humanly possibly can, what I'd rather you stick to is just having a good contact on the ground, on the bench, with our hips, upper back. You can have a slight natural arch here. As you can see, I can get my hand between the bench and my back, but I don't want to go super crazy like that. And what that would look like from this side camera angle is here, up, down, and press. So we've covered a lot already, but there's one more piece of this that I want to make sure that I touch upon before we get into how to put this type of exercise into a workout for yourself. So with our feet, a lot of people tend to neglect the feet when it comes to these upper body exercises, such as the barbell bench press, military press, seated shoulder press, or anything else. The way we just work as humans is we have to have contact with the ground in some capacity or some solid thing that we can actually feel. So with my feet on the bench press, I want to make sure it's firmly on the ground. So my heel, the balls of my pinky toe, the balls of my big toe are on the floor, and I'm not coming up and down like this. When it comes to actually pressing and with our feet and legs, some people might refer to something as like a leg drive. When this is kind of, as you're pressing up, you're gonna push more of your legs into the ground, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm up here, bar comes to the chest, let's say I need a little help, and I start pushing through the floor. What you should be able to see is my hips leave the ground a little bit, or leave the bench a little bit, and that's a result of me getting just a little bit extra push from my feet as they push into the ground. Now, depending on what you're training for or what your training style is, that might be perfectly okay. But if you're someone who's just starting out, what I would suggest that you focus on primarily is just keeping contact and providing enough resistance and push into the ground so that you can feel stable and secure while you're pressing. When you do it like this, everything's just about going to stay on the bench. And then I'm going to come down, solid foot, and press up. Now, in terms of actually applying this into a training program for yourself, it all comes back to what your goal is. If your goal is to build a lot of muscle, then you can do anywhere from, let's say, 3 to 4 sets, probably anywhere from 6 to 12 repetitions per set. If your goal is more purely strength-based training, such as a powerlifter, or you're just trying to lift as much weight as you can, opt for something more towards 3 to 6 sets, anywhere from maybe 2 to 5 repetitions. And if you're someone who's just looking to work on maybe some local muscle endurance, or maybe just likes to do a lot of higher repetition stuff because it feels better on your joints and it's what you kind of can consistently stick to in the gym, Anywhere from 2 to 4 sets of probably 15 reps into maybe 20 to 30 could be an option for you as well. But make sure that you're taking as much rest time in between. So for those heavier and harder sets, anywhere from 90 seconds to probably 4 to 5 minutes is a good spot, depending on how much rest that you need. And for those longer repetition sets, you might be able to get away with a little bit less rest, anywhere from maybe 30 to 90 seconds, because the strength demands aren't as high. Of course, everybody's goals, needs, the type of load, sets, reps are all gonna vary. And there's a lot of other options and things that you can do if you maybe want to still incorporate something like the barbell bench press, but maybe you have to adjust it in some way, shape, or form. But this at least should give you a good starting point on how to set something like this up, so you can give it a chance to use it and improve your technique with this exercise. So if you liked this, you found it was helpful, like, subscribe. There's more information down below on where you can find more from me. And thanks for watching.